There we go.
What is that in reference to?
That is in reference to the Ghoul, the old horror host that my dad watched all the time. That was one of his catchphrases. Stay sick, turn blue, drop out. Yeah. I actually asked him, "Hey, we're gonna put in some new things. Pick one." He goes, "Yeah, this will work." So I was like, "Yeah, okay." How you guys doing? We're live.
Hey.
I'm okay.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
The stuff that like Sven Gulli does now with his 3 side characters is really good. It's up on my TikTok all the time. They're pretty funny.
Yeah. No, I've watched some Sven Gulli, and it's good. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch a whole bunch of them.
With Gwen Gulli and Nostalgia Ferratu and the Imp.
Hey, Cody, bring your mic just a hair.
I could have been projecting a little more also. It might be more on me than it is the mic
it's a
placement.
50-50 thing, we're still playing with it.
We're all working together.
Yes.
Us, the microphones, our vocal cords.
Our 2 viewers. All of us.
So,
all right.
I did not close the door. Do I need to do that?
I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. So yeah, we have a good show for you this week. Oh, I forgot I need to type something into the chat because that is something to do when it comes to podcasts.
We're light on news this week, but heavy on gimmicks.
Yes, we are. I can't wait. All right. So yeah. I guess you know what. Should we go ahead and talk about the podcast-a-thon thing?
Yep.
Yes, go for it.
Go
All right. Hey, so before we get into the show proper, taking a couple minutes here to talk about something that's not geek-related, but, it's a good thing. So this year we are part of Podcast-a-thon. It is a yearly thing where a bunch of podcasts, over 1,000 this year, I believe, get together.
Golly.
And
That's a lot of podcasts.
It's a lot of podcasts. It's hard to think. Well, I mean, I guess
that's a lot of lonely nerds on the internet.
that's a lot of 30-year-old dudes.
That's less than 0.02% of all podcasts.
So we are actually part of that, and because of that, we are actually going to highlight a nonprofit organization. And, I was kind of racking on my brain the other day trying to think of...
The Human Foundation.
Yes. That would be a good one.
The Human
Instrumentality Project.
Yeah, I wish. If I could find out.
That's what's on my watch.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I got an Ava watch.
That's pretty
pretty
dope.
rad.
I didn't see it. I thought it was just a watch, and now I see the Nerve logo.
And it actually literally says Human Instrumentality Project on
Fantastic. If that were a 501c3... we could talk about it. But no, I was kind of racking my brain. There were a couple different ones that charities that kind of, I'm a fan of. Was it Extra Life? That's the Penny Arcade one, right?
No, that Child's Play is the Penny Arcade one.
Child's Play is the Penny Arcade one. Yeah, I thought about them, and I thought about a couple others. But kind of settled on the American Red Cross. For a number of reasons. There have been a lot, they're really big into disaster relief, which is something that I try to, help out with whenever I can. And donating blood is a big deal. In fact, for the video version of this, you can actually see where I donated today, which is kind of wild. They are, I don't have a lot of time to volunteer time, with charities and stuff during my day-to-day, but this is an easy thing to kind of help out with.
Plus, you got the good blood.
I do have the good blood. I actually donated the Power Red. You know what that is? I could tell you if I don't know.
It lets you morph into a Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah, I think.
I was gonna say, do we need to hit the Power Ranger button?
If I had the Power Ranger button working, I would hit it. No. So the Power Red, what it is they take like double the blood, they extract it, siphon out all the red blood cells.
And they only give a quarter of it to Dracula.
Just a little. Well, you have to pay the Dracula tax.
Well, the D on his grave stands for Dracula.
For Dracul, yes. No, so they take out all the red blood cells and they return the platelets and everything back in. So you're basically donating the good stuff, and it really helps. Universal donors are the ones that do it, and it really helps out. It helps children who are anemic. It helps people in disaster areas. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of the Red Cross. I always thought that they're one of the good ones. I'd like to say they have a lot of they help out a lot of folks, and it's just something been near and dear to the heart. So I figured I'd talk a little bit about it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Near and dear to the heart.
Unlike my blood currently, it's near and dear to my heart.
Are you feeling all right?
I am feeling okay.
I do feel like donating twice the amount of blood would be hard.
That's okay. I had some good snacks. Hey, that's the best part about it. You get some grape juice, get a little bag of Cheez-Its, get a cookie, and you know what? It took 30 minutes.
And you get the warm feeling in your heart knowing that you've helped out humanity.
Yeah. I mean, I just, what do you guys think of our charity for the month for Podcast-a-thon?
No, I think it's fine.
Dracula don't suck, Dracula scrape and lick.
And there we go.
That's a Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy reference.
They should, during October, the American Red Cross should do a vampire-themed blood drive.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that would be great.
100%. I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner.
I'm sure it has, but I don't recall. But
that means it's an original idea.
They
TM.
could do like a vampire gothic fashion ball.
Yeah, and blood drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. See, take some
like
notes.
That sounds like a real Columbus thing to do.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
It really
does Columbus
does.
even still do highball?
Oh
yeah. They
every
do
year.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just been so freaking cold the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if you guys want to learn more about the American Red Cross and blood drives and some of the other great stuff that they do,
Spam blood in the chat.
Between you could do that, or you could go to redcross.org, and I recommend you do. It's a good cause.
Blood.
Or
what was that dude? What was that song that dude sang in Vampirella? Bleed for me.
Yeah, bleed for me. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
and the fact that
let's not associate Vampirella with the American Red Cross.
Hey, I watched that movie, and it's your fault.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
Yeah, it's my fault.
In the chat.
We should start every show by chanting blood.
Careful, we might.
Yes.
Never mind. I can't make that joke.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I can. We're not on the radio yet.
We could
get government cabinet jobs.
All right, so I think that's enough that I can chop up and put at the beginning of a podcast for. And I mean, Larian, yes, that movie is amazing.
Amazingly terrible.
Well, that's a kind of amazing. I sincerely hope your check 'em out is you and Larian watching The Room. Yeah, good. We could talk about that. Yeah. Larian, I told Josh if you guys ever want to graduate to the ultimate bad movies, let me know. We'll sit and watch some Neil Breen, because you gotta have a group. You gotta have friends. You gotta have the Breen team. Yes.
But I feel like we need everybody at that point.
We do need everybody.
We need all of us and our significant others, and watching.
We got to.
A couple of them.
At least a couple of them. Yeah.
Hey, it's an excuse. It's an excuse to get together.
Listen, the new one that's coming out, Dire Disdain, I think is what it's, or something like that. He's not doing green screens anymore.
Wow.
It's not Cade the Tortured Crossing. As it turns out, he filmed that during at the height of the pandemic, so he could only have one actor at a time in his garage.
Then why do it? Just wait, dude.
Because he's an auteur. Because the man is a genius, a mad genius. And I think he's finally in on the joke because there is a section of his website that you can click that's called The Competition. And it's pictures of Tommy Wiseau and the guy who directed Birdemic.
Oh no, that's not a good sign. Though.
I think he finally is. He's in on the joke. But you know what? He is 60 or 90 years old, and
I am 30 or 40 years old, and
I don't need this. Yeah. So, but no, we absolutely need to breen. Friends don't let friends breen alone. So, yeah.
But.
Oh, it wasn't butt. It was butts. It was the ball sack. His visible ball sack. In Double Down. You know where
double
he's
down on them
on
these nuts.
on these nuts. Yeah, yeah. Floating upside down in his pool with his dead wife.
No, I was talking about.
Fecal findings where you
when
saw his full butt. Yes,
in the hospital gown.
That's right.
And Jordan started chanting it.
Yeah, that's right. You are absolutely correct. But enough about Breen.
You mean that terrible Star Trek race?
Maybe he's part of them.
How I cooked my turkey for Thanksgiving in a brine.
In a brine? Yes.
That's
a brine.
Oh.
No, you got to make that joke
Pickle
when
turkey?
we eventually watch the Fast and the Furious movies with one of the mean leads, Brian. When they yell his name, Brian.
What?
It's Brian O'Connell. Connor. I should know this.
I'll say you're the only one of us who watches those.
Yet. I have an idea. We're getting close to episode 500. You realize this?
No.
We are 20 episodes away from episode 500. And we've talked in the past about doing video reviews of No, I Haven't Seen That. We're going to pick a weekend. This is what I'm proposing. We're going to pick a weekend and we're going to watch Fast and the Furious movies until we are physically ill.
So one.
Listen, if we can make it to 5, you guys are going to be totally in. Because by 5, it gets so fucking stupid.
That's a lot of a lot of family.
No, listen. It's really not that. The first one is Point Break. It's just Point Break with cars.
I mean, yeah.
And Point Break's good.
Point Break is good.
Yeah.
Number 2 is
I am an FBI agent.
Don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. But so is family. No.
The Iron Giant, you're here?
Young, dumb, and full of, you know what?
Yes. No, the first one's Point Break. The second one is weird.
Yeah.
It's just an action movie. Number 3 is The Odd Duck because it's Tokyo Drift.
3 is the last one I saw because I worked at the movie theater when it came out.
Yeah, I can understand why you would stop watching that one.
I mean, the Hulk car was cool.
The Hulk car was cool. Low Bow Wow with the Hulk car. Yeah, that was cool.
Oh God, that was Little Bow Wow.
That was Low Bow Wow. God. Hey, Ja Rule was in the first movie.
Right.
And he's like 5'4", but he has the voice of a man.
Hey. Hey.
Special guest Ja Rule. No, I'm joking. But no, 4 is just fine. 5 is where it goes from, it starts as a car movie and it ends as one of the craziest bullshit things I've ever seen.
Is that the one with the submarine?
No, that's Fate of the Furious. That's number 8.
Oh.
Fate.
Wait, which is the one where they shoot the car into space?
That's 9.
Okay.
No, that's 9. 9's the one where they go to space. This is the one where well, I don't want to spoil it, but they're in Rio de Janeiro, and it was so popular.
Ramp off the big Jesus.
I wish. There is one where they go to Dubai and they drive between those 2 giant golden skyscrapers back and forth between the 2 of them to get the car from the top floor to the bottom floor. No, 5 was so popular and good. Don't worry about it. The 5 was so good that 10 and 10 Part 2 are direct.
10 and 10 too.
10 and 10
just
too.
like Final Fantasy.
Just like Final
Hey,
Fantasy.
it's gonna have pain in it. I love pain.
Yeah. But no, 5 was so good that 10 and 10
Oh, you'll
are
experience
direct
pain.
sequels. Are direct sequels to 5, like more than any of the other ones.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Plus, we gotta watch it to the point where John Cena joins the cast as Vin Diesel's brother, and we get the wonderful line from Charlize Theron saying, "I never would have known the Torettos have a Nordic strain." To explain why why Vin Diesel is like
White?
vaguely Hispanic, and John Cena isn't. I'm telling you, once we hit episode 500, it's happening. I will provide all of the food and snacks. We could take breaks between the movies if we have to. We don't have to watch Hobbs and Shaw, even though it is maybe one of the best. Idris Elba is Black Superman in that movie.
That is a direct quote.
It's a direct quote.
That was in the trailer.
Sure was. Sure was. But yeah. Anyway, we should probably get into the actual show.
Probably.
Yeah, let's get around to
let's
it.
do it. Let's do it.
So as before, we can't acknowledge chat while we're doing
sure.
the actual show.
Someday I'm going to make a little ticker that I can just hit, and it goes, "We can't talk to chat" at the bottom, and have that roll a couple times. But
you should make it like a news ticker.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, news ticker.
Since when we're doing the news, like it's the news.
The news. Yeah. All right. So yeah, who has a excuse me? Who has an
Whoa,
intro?
calm down, Rick
God.
Sanchez. Yeah.
That wasn't
was
even a good one.
That was it was juicy.
It was juicy, but it wasn't even that good. All right. Anyway.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that's not afraid to go back to the gross jelly bean well every once in a while. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam, and I am not looking forward to this.
I'm Josh, and I am terrified.
I thought you were going to say cautiously optimistic.
No, none of us are.
Yes, later in the show we're going to eat some Colonel's favorite jelly beans, which are KFC flavors.
You know what's funny? You brought those in, Cody. I almost bought a pack a month ago. I had the same thought. Doesn't mean I'm looking forward to it, but I had one brain cell here. Anyway, we have a great show for you this week. We have some news, we have some food stunts, but first, let's get into some things we have been checking out.
Check it out!
Upgrading my dance moves.
Yeah, good dance moves there. All right, so check them out. Josh, I want you to start first.
So, there's a little known cinema masterpiece that you guys may have heard of.
Might have.
Just a little bit. Pretty infamous. You know, there was a man who had a dream. He
and
wanted
some jeans.
He wanted to write. He wanted to direct. He wanted to star in this film. He wanted to be a triple threat.
And
Okay.
he might be an alien or a vampire.
Might be an alien or a vampire, and
Or an alien vampire.
might have a flying car,
Or just Eastern European.
or vaguely European. Yes, yes.
But yes,
Who is this mystery man that you speak of, Josh?
one of the greatest filmmakers ever born or created, Tommy Wiseau, and The Room.
Ah, yes. We're going back to The Room. Well,
Yep.
Oh, we're not talking about Big Shark.
I cannot find Big Shark anywhere. I don't
Wait,
know.
is that one of his other movies?
That
It's
is-
supposed to be his most recent one.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, how many movies has he done? Because I thought he didn't do anything else.
Too many.
Oh, really? He's done more?
He's done short.
He's done shorts, and he had, he had that one where he and Greg Sestero were supposed to be neighbors, but it was like shot in their garage. It was bad. And then there were like a couple others. He was in Samurai Cop 2. Don't watch Samurai Cop 2. I'm telling you, I love Samurai Cop. Don't watch Samurai Cop 2.
Samurai
All right.
Cop 1 is a delight.
It's a wonderful
It has
film.
the same energy as kids playing with Nerf guns in the backyard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Of course. Well, anyway, tell me about The Room, Josh.
So,
Your experience. I mean, we've talked about The Room. but
I've seen this movie a bunch of times. But
I've made you watch this movie a bunch of
yeah,
times.
that's true.
Yes.
I mean, my copy is your copy.
that is
And then you bought it on
technically
Blu-ray.
correct.
And then you bought it on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway. So out of the blue, my wonderful girlfriend is texting me. She goes, "Hey, one of my coworkers has told me about this movie. Have you heard of it? It's called The Room." And I was sitting on the couch and I laughed audibly by myself, walked over to the DVD rack, pulled it out, took a picture of it, and sent it to her.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
she's like, "Well, I guess I know what we're doing tonight."
And at that point, you're like, oh no.
Pretty much.
What have I done?
Pretty much. I was
What
like,
have I done?
I was like, oh, I was just being funny.
Because it does have diminishing returns, I
It
feel like.
really, it really
Yeah,
does.
It does.
But oh man,
But getting to experience it through someone who hasn't before is fun.
That is a
yes,
wonderful
which
experience.
is
Yeah.
which is the glory of no, I haven't seen that with
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the way, great color coordination. The
Thanks.
Mario shirt, the red
Right.
shirt, and the hat and the glass. Love it.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, The Room. A movie that makes 0 sense and has really awkward sex scenes literally every 5 minutes.
Or at least for the first half hour.
Yes.
They kind of drop off there near the end.
Well, yeah, because it's near the end of the movie.
Because by the end of the, I mean, it's clear that they shot the movie in sequence, and at one point, I think the main the main lead actress, just kind of said, "I don't want to do this anymore, guys.
This isn't fun anymore.
This is gross. Is this what you hired me for?" And then they stopped. He stopped writing those into the script.
But
Which
yeah,
is probably why we have Grandma, I have cancer, and then
Yes.
she never comes
And then
back
she-
again.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a plot point. I guess it's not.
It's not. I got the results from the test back. I definitely have breast cancer. Moving on.
yeah. I mean, it's brought up one other time where she's like at the apartment and she's like, "What's wrong, Mom?" She goes, "Oh, I'm just tired." She goes, "Are you feeling okay?" Yeah. It never gets brought back up.
Sure.
It's not a part of anything.
No, but neither
No.
is half the things that
Yeah.
are going on in this movie.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The drug dealer who shows up once.
Chris R.
Yeah, Chris R. The weird relationship between this 18-year-old college kid
Danny.
and
Denny.
Yeah,
Oh, hi, Denny.
and Johnny.
Sure, Denny and Johnny. Yeah, yeah.
Like everybody treats him like a little kid, but he's an 18-year-old in college.
Mm-hmm. Mark talks about his best friend a lot, but also is having relations with his best friend's girl.
Yeah, every time it's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
He's my best friend.
Yeah, yeah.
And the framed pictures of spoons.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I kind of forgot about that, and I was just kind of watching it. And I was like, "What's up with this Panera like art?"
Oh yeah, yeah.
I have one in Mugenics in my Mugenics house.
Excellent. All right, all right.
But yeah, so we're watching the movie.
Get to play some football. The great American
Yeah.
sport of tossing
mean-
footballs
you-
in suits.
You mean when they were 2 feet apart from each other?
Mm-hmm. And Tommy still couldn't get the spin on the football right.
Nah.
Great
And then,
American sport, football.
oh, you're just a chicken.
cheap, cheap, cheap,
cheap. A sound that no chicken has ever made.
It reminds me of Arrested Development.
Yeah.
That's a good show.
Yes.
Though I never did. I've actually never really sat down and watched a chunk of.
I
Watch the first 3 seasons and stop there.
Yeah. There's even some later third seasons where I fell off. Like it kind of really
Yeah.
starts spinning its wheels. Like Twin Peaks.
It's kind of like Twin
It
Peaks.
really starts
yeah.
spinning its wheels toward the end.
Yeah, I
And,
agree.
You know, and those airport cars, they just don't have good traction.
Oh, the stair car?
You'll get hop on.
You're going to get hop-ons. Yes.
Here, go see a Star Wars.
Have $2 to go see a Star Wars. That is my Star Wars Day gift that I put up every year.
But no, we're watching The Room.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the movie was bad, and I remember the movie was bad. But as I'm sitting there, I don't know why I did this to myself, critically analyzing the film.
Well, there's your mistake.
While my wonderful, amazing girlfriend is losing her absolute mind, going, "What is this movie? What are we watching?
Why is this movie? What is this movie?
When is this movie?"
I miss when they used to play it on Adult Swim, and for the sex scenes, they would just put big black boxes over the parts
I remember
of the
there was
screen.
one where they blocked the entire screen and left like one little tiny
Yeah.
spot that wasn't blacked out. That was a great joke.
The obsession with the flowers at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. You're my favorite customer.
Oh, hi, doggy.
Oh,
That
hot
whole
doggy.
sequence is
Yeah.
because it's so obviously ADR.
The music is terrible.
Yeah.
It's the same song over and over again.
Well, now that you've watched that, you can now watch The Disaster Artist.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, which is not bad.
It was not bad.
It's not bad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. All the weird moaning.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah. Oof, that movie.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like getting to experience it through someone else is like having kids on Christmas morning
mhm.
and getting to experience Christmas.
Oh
through
yeah,
the
I was
children.
definitely the mom with the coffee cup. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
like-
that is the best part of bad movies.
have you looked behind
is-
the tree? Hey, what's that poking out?
Yeah. No, the
You're
best.
tearing me apart, Lisa.
Oh yeah. No, the best part of bad movies is subjecting other people to bad movies. That's the way it goes.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how you got me on the Breen movies.
Mm-hmm. That's how I got everybody on the Breen movies.
That's true. That's true.
Eyes
'cause-
on Breen.
Still need to see Frankie Frico too.
I need to sit and watch Frankie
It's
Frico.
so
I need to
good.
sit down and
It's
watch
a-
Psycho Gorman because I've never seen that
Oh
movie.
yeah, you need to watch Psycho Gorman too.
Psycho Gorman's awesome. You need
His-
to watch that.
His whole oeuvre is
Mhm.
is very good.
Manborg is pretty good.
Man, bored.
Manborg is one of his earliest ones, and that's the one that movie had the trailer for BioCop at the end of it, where he's just melting
Yeah.
the entire time. Yes,
I saw that you added Alien Outlaw to the Plex.
I did put Alien Outlaw on the Plex so we could watch it later on. Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I keep thinking about starting my own Plex.
Why?
You
What,
should.
what's wrong with the stuff Sam has?
Well, no, just so I can have my
So you
own.
can have your
like,
stuff. Yeah.
and just like have my own media server, so I don't have to rely on streaming so much. 'cause
There you
it's
go.
There's that
expensive.
too.
Well,
And
streaming.
it
Yeah,
sucks.
there's a problem with streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Streaming services till all are one.
Yeah.
Basically.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you were able to. I'm glad you and your girlfriend are still together after watching The Room. But I'm glad you guys had a good enjoyment.
I'm
And-
glad it didn't tear us apart.
No, Neil Breen movies, Gideon.
Oh,
With yes, with the lawyer,
yeah.
the weedy little lawyer who thought he was an action star, and also a country singer in the same film. Samurai Cop. Oh gosh, I can Tammy and the T-Rex.
I need to see that.
Tammy and the T-Rex is a masterpiece
I can't.
of
I can't
tonal shifts.
I can't get Samantha to bite on Tammy and the T-Rex.
Oh,
I've
man.
tried.
Has she watched Velocipaster?
No.
No, No, some of those movies are like
They're bad on purpose.
they know the best. I've said it for years. The best bad movies are the ones where they were made completely earnest
Oh yeah.
and not earnest. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean, Vern?
Some of the best movies are earnest.
Are earnest movies? Well, they
Mount.
are some of the best movies are
Mount.
earnest films. Yep. I Dr. Otto and the riddle of the gloom beam is a great proto
I
earnest
think
movie.
that's a Pokemon movie.
It could be. Yeah.
So what's your checking out, Cody?
Yeah.
I did. Speaking of Pokemon, I did get Pokopia
Oh, you did.
the other day.
Nice.
I lucked into.
Must be nice that one of us has money.
No, I was about to say I lucked into a $20 coupon in a coupon printer at self checkout,
Ooh.
and combined that with like Imperks coupons that I already had,
Mhm.
and ended up spending $48 on
That is
That's
a good
almost half
amount.
off.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
man.
all-
Yeah, man.
Was it $80?
No, it's 70.
70.
Yeah.
Still not great.
Amazon did jack it up to 80 on their website when it sold out everywhere else.
Ooh,
I also
Yeah.
got
that's
super.
dirty.
I also got super lucky because they didn't have it on the hook where the games
Oh.
are. But having worked in
Box
retail
store, yeah.
electronic box store for as long as I have, I know what a Nintendo shipment box looks like. And there was one on the desk. I'm like, what's in that box? It's Pokopia. Yeah, I'll take that.
Oh, fantastic! So how is Pokopia?
It is very, very good. Like, I'm surprised that I thought I would like it fine, but actually it's very good.
Awesome.
How would you compare it to, say, like either Dragon Quest Builders or Animal Crossing?
It is extremely similar to Dragon Quest Builders, but it also has been a long time since I played that. But it fits the mechanics of Pokemon more than it does Dragon Quest. Because the gameplay of, like, making these little habitats that attract an animal and having them show up as a little surprise later,
Mhm.
like, it's such good game design. It's such a fun loop.
I've been watching some folks on the YouTubes play it, and it looks. Every time I watch it, I go, boy, dude, can I afford a Switch 2? I wish it were on the first Switch because I would own it right now. But
I don't know why it can't be. It's not exceptionally good looking, but
no, it's a Pokemon game.
it does sap the hell out of my battery on the Switch too. So, like,
yeah, that could be part of
maybe
it.
it is.
Something in the background that's
Yeah, it
making
takes more horsepower than you would think.
Yeah.
The dialogue that the Pokemon say is all super cute and funny in
what
an
I've seen.
Animal Crossing kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
The sound effects and music are 100% similar to Animal Crossing. Because I was doing other stuff while Samantha was playing it, who has played it more than I have at this
Oh,
point.
really?
That sounds like a Samantha thing to do.
If you just hear the sound, you could swear it was Animal
Oh,
Crossing.
gotcha. Yeah.
Does
yeah.
it do the wahoo when you find
No.
something?
But, like, it makes a little wobbly sound
Mhm.
that sounds like the one in Animal Crossing. If you've played a lot of Animal Crossing, you probably know exactly the
Yeah, I know what
wobbly
you're talking
sound.
about. I play a lot of Animal Crossing still.
Yeah. But it does the same thing where it, like Dragon Quest Monsters, where it gamifies the type of gameplay that you do in a Minecraft
Okay.
or an Animal Crossing and gives you goals and stuff. Not unlike the Nook Miles. I guess they did do that with Animal Crossing. in
Yeah,
new
but the
one.
Nook Miles are they're more like achievements.
Yeah,
Achievements and daily quests.
they are afterthoughts.
Yeah.
In
In
that.
this, they give you the money that you spend on to buy, new
New stuff.
upgrades and
Okay.
items and stuff to
That's
decorate.
cool.
More Poké Dollars or whatever it is.
They're called life coins for some reason.
Oh.
Okay.
I guess they're
There's-
Pokemon. They
there-
wouldn't need human money.
There's no
Yeah.
more human money because there are no more humans.
Yeah, it's a post-apocalyptic Pokemon situation.
Yeah, they don't
Kinda.
they don't know where the humans are, and that's part of the game is finding it out.
I saw
Mhm.
a meme. I saw a meme yesterday about, like, it was one of those things of, like, the gameplay of Pokopia, and it's like all cute and happy and bright. It goes the lore of the game, and it's like the messed up Mr. Incredible face where he's like,
Oh, yeah.
"Ooh."
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think about it for more than like a couple of minutes, it's like, no, something happened here. Maybe this is that war that Lieutenant Surge served in.
Yeah. I know what it is, but I don't
Oh.
want to spoil it.
Okay, yeah,
That's
so
fine.
don't spoil
Because
it.
I didn't think I was gonna get the game, so I
Oh.
looked it up,
I gotcha.
and then later I've watched it been played, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to buy this, aren't I? And then I got a good
And
deal.
then you got a good deal. Well, excellent.
At least you got a
Excellent.
good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a Costco membership the other day.
What?
Yeah, we were just curious and like wanted to check it out.
It's great.
It is pretty cool. It was a nightmare in there that we went on a Saturday. Which
Oh,
was
that's
a
your
mistake.
mistake.
That's what-
That's a
yeah,
mistake.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quickly realized my mistake. It was a total zoo,
Mhm.
but like,
Should have went on a bank holiday.
yeah,
But no, Costco's great.
yeah.
It's a good place.
Never been.
Did you get your $1.50 hot dog and a pop?
I did not.
You need to. The owner wanted to fight a man because they tried to raise the price.
Next time I will. I mean, I planned on it, but like, we got in there and it took so long to sign up that
Oh.
like they were about ready to close by the time we got through the process.
Ah, gotcha.
We'd been processed by the Costco.
You
Mafia.
are now
I would
product.
say of the membership style box stores, Costco might be my favorite because I've done the Sam's Club, which you would think would be, you know, because
That'd be the one that you would want.
it would be my
yeah.
club, but no. And I've done the
It
J...
turns out they wouldn't let you leave with whatever you wanted.
Yeah, I know. I tried to, and they stopped me at the gate. And there's that new one, BJ's. I think it's on 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
been building it for
Lewis
a while.
Center.
My folks like that one, but I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. But Costco, I do enjoy a Costco. Just give me like a year's worth of toilet paper.
Yeah, we decided we
And,
need to
yeah.
make a list of the items that would be useful to have in bulk and go back.
Oh yeah, no, you have to have a list. Otherwise, you're just gonna buy the stupidest stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna walk out spending way too much money.
And they had a freaking computer with a RTX 5080 in it.
What?
Excellent.
Yeah, it was $2,200.
Well,
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
honestly is probably worth it.
You can book vacations through Costco.
What?
Yeah, they have their own travel
the
agency.
Costco cruise.
Yeah, that's not too far off, Cody.
What is this? What is this mining town mentality here?
Oh yeah, no, you sell your soul to the company store for 600 rolls of paper towels. Yeah, man. And
All
some,
right.
and some decent meat that you can get in bulk. Very
And
good.
big pies.
Big
Yeah,
pies.
the biggest pies you've ever seen.
I don't know, man. I've seen some pretty big pies. I used to watch a lot of that one Nickelodeon game show with the big pies.
Double Dare.
No.
No, what would you do? Had a big
Yeah.
pie.
That's the one. That's the one. All right. Well, hey, let's switch gears and get into our brand new segment. That's right. It's a new one, and it's called Food Stunts. All right.
Good timing.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, Cody, what do we have for our food stunts today?
I have brought to the picnic
That's what we need to call it.
the
picnic.
the
I like
Colonel's favorite jelly beans. I found these at Five Below.
Okay.
They come in the flavors fried chicken, naturally,
Sure.
sweet corn,
I doubt
Okay.
it's naturally.
and gravy.
Okay.
Ew.
Okay. Let's try it.
All
so,
right.
do we eat them separately or all together?
I feel like we should.
Do we
eat
make
them-
do we make a famous bowl in our mouth of jelly beans?
There's no cheese bean.
No, that's true.
Man, I love the famous bowl. It's so good.
It's so good. Have
I don't get enough KFC.
it's one of those that I never think of when I go, I should get some fast food.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I
Do you
go there
remember
on
when we
occasion.
had 2 KFCs?
We do have two KFCs.
We
that's
did.
correct. Oh,
We
we
did.
did. And then one of them had the bucket, and then the
Ooh.
bucket fell apart.
That was the one. That was the one by 23.
Oh, that's
Is that a smell?
that is a bouquet.
Okay, let's pass it down.
Oh God!
Wow.
We should probably sort them out here.
That is vile.
That is something else.
We'll get one bean of each color for everybody.
Okay, all right.
Okay, that's 2 yellows.
There's a lot.
That's a lot of yellows.
There's a lot of corn.
Which one's the yellow? Is that corn?
Take your corn. Corn.
Take a corn, pass it down. Okay.
This one. This must be gravy. They're hard to tell because there's like a
Is there-
yellow
is there
and then a light
Is there
yellow.
a diagram on the back?
Yeah, but it's not.
Okay, I think these two are the same color here.
The speckled ones are the chicken.
Okay. Are those the
Whoops.
spices, the
Yeah,
herbs and spices?
chicken.
Oh God, it's
Chicken.
smelling. It's filling the room.
Yeah, it's rough. This is a rough one.
Chicken.
We might have to take a break after we eat these.
Chicken. Here's your chicken bean.
I tell you what,
Uh.
I feel like Violet Beauregard in the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where she the gum that is part of the whole.
I feel like this one might be gravy. The lighter yellow might be the
Okay.
gravy. I don't know. Let's start with the chicken. Let's
Okay,
start
start
with the
with the chicken.
gross sounding one.
Yeah. All right. Ready? 1, 2. Oh.
Oh.
Oh, that is a no.
Oh.
Oh, it lingers. Oh God.
Oh,
Oh. Oh.
whatever you paid for these,
Here,
it's too
vomit.
much.
I ate it. That is evil. It's pure evil. Oh.
Disgusting.
Oh.
I don't know. Oh God, no, it won't go away.
It sticks around.
Oh,
Do you need a Dr. Pepper or something from the fridge?
I do not have any more pop in my house.
Ah!
I made a mistake.
Hey, I'll go grab that Mountain Dew from downstairs.
No, it's okay. It's okay. All right, it's okay. Whew.
It doesn't go. It tastes like when you eat a bunch of chicken and then throw up the chicken.
And yeah, no, that's exactly it.
I'm pretty sure that was made from chicken throat.
Oh. Guys, I can't do the rest of it. I can't. I almost yarfed onto my microphone.
On live streaming internet.
Oh yeah, I cannot do it. I'm sorry. I'm tapping. I'm tapping.
I'll try the corn one.
Try the corn.
Ugh.
Here. Yeah.
Yep, I'm not touching that.
You're
I'm tagging out.
Oh.
Corn's fine. I don't mind it.
I think it
Yeah.
rubbed up against the other ones too much. It has like the outer has that taste, like
I
the
don't
chicken.
mind it.
Oh.
I love how we can handle the hot food stunts.
Oh, give me spicy food every day of the week. This is vile.
I'm assuming this might be the gravy.
Good luck, sir.
I'm getting wafts of the flavor from here, and it smells like vomit.
It's horrible. It's horrible. No reason these ended up like Five Below. This is disgusting.
Gravy's fine.
Gravy's fine.
It doesn't bother me.
Okay, well, Cody, you are a big man.
Yeah,
Are you
you're
going-
way
are you
better than
going-
us.
Are you going to do the 3 flavor challenge? Are you going to pop each one in?
I really don't want to eat another one of those chicken ones, but
Do it for the gram.
if I'm nothing but a showman here.
Yeah, you got this. We have the vomit bucket here
Here's
as well.
I'm doing the whole famous bowl.
Oh my god.
Oh, here we
All right,
go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, the chicken one is so bad.
Here, the trash can. Trash can.
Nope, I'm gonna tough it out.
You're gonna do it.
Okay.
Oh. Ugh.
Oh, let me swallow it. Come on.
Your body's like, no, no.
Oh. The other two are fine.
Yeah.
Corn and the gravy they're not great. I wouldn't eat
I
them
would
by
imagine
choice,
not. Ugh.
but they're palatable. The chicken one is just pure evil. It's probably one of
is
the most
the
evil
worst.
things I've ever eaten.
Oh my god.
Cody-
I have done some food stunts in my day.
Yeah.
But oh my god.
There's better tasting Birdie Bots
Oh yeah.
evil flavors in that chicken.
I
would
would
rather
eat grass all day long.
Ugh.
That is
You
disgusting.
need to take that pack and get it out of the office because
out of the house.
it smells so bad.
I'm going downstairs. I'm getting my Mountain Dew. I cannot
Yeah,
taste that.
yeah. You know what? I think there's one last can of Mountain Dew in the fridge. If you wouldn't mind grabbing that for me.
I got you.
Oh. Yeah, good call. Oh, the smell is still in the office. Oh. No, I gotta walk. I gotta take a walk. Oh God. Oh.
Are we still live?
Still alive.
Oh.
Vile. Absolutely vile.
Oh.
I knew it was gonna be bad,
Yeah.
but I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. Oh.
I still might dart from this. Oh.
No, you'll have to taste it again.
Oh God. It's like, oh man, I don't know. It's like I mean, it had the spices. It tasted like a piece of chicken, but it was like a mix of the flavor and the texture.
It was bad.
It was bad. It was bad.
That's gonna be some quality footage.
Yeah.
Clip that.
We might get clipped for that one. Great.
The power of Febreze compels you.
Oh my god.
I feel like that breaks some kind of terms of service or something.
Oh.
Some community guideline about violence. Oh my god. Oh, I'm sorry to our viewers.
Oh no, I'm sure that was hilarious.
This was great. No, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It'll be good.
Oh man.
That's a YouTube short right there.
Yeah. Yeah, if I could figure out how to do one of those and that won't take me 5 hours to edit, then it will. All right, everybody.
It does. The chicken taste does not go away.
It's still there.
It lingers on my breath.
Yeah. Every
And-
time I breathe in, I taste more nasty chicken.
When I could smell it. I could smell it when I breathe out of my nose.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, now that
I'd rather do the one chip challenge. Like the real one.
Like the real one?
real one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was less uncomfortable than that chicken bean was.
Yeah. I would rather have my face melted off than have to eat that chicken bean.
I'd rather
anymore.
eat 2 raw habaneros. You can quote me on that.
Okay.
I'll put one on each side of my mouth.
All right.
Well, maybe not that because I did have that hole where my filling came out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, now that we've...
Wow.
One more sip of Mountain Dew, I think.
That cough was so bad. You peaked your own speaker.
Oh, I probably did, yeah.
Guys, I didn't think they were gonna be that bad. I really didn't.
That was...
I'm sure it wasn't gonna be great, but
I did not, because we've gotten weird beans before, right?
yeah, we did. There was like a weird
It was Thanksgiving
Yeah,
dinner.
Thanksgiving dinner mix.
And I mean, they were bad, but we ate them. We could keep them down. This one was just,
do you want to bring one home for Larian?
You
No.
should. One of each.
She wants to try.
She wants to try them.
Take her a chicken bean.
All right.
All right. Are we good? Are we ready?
They're out of your house. They're on your front porch.
I appreciate that.
Now the whole neighborhood
Let the
can.
squirrels vomit out there.
It's gonna get nutty.
Ugh. It would be better if it were nutty. Yeah.
Next time I'll also bring good beans.
Yeah. Bring something good.
Yeah, we need a palate.
Bring back more.
cleanse.
We need cake. Bring back more Superman ice cream.
More ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that ice cream was great.
All right. So now that we've made that mistake, let's jump on over to the news. Guys, we got to get through the show.
I know.
Did you just burp some back up?
Yep. All right. So, just for the listeners at home or on your devices, I personally cannot vomit. I don't know why. I think I placed a mental block on myself a long time ago because I used to do it a lot as a kid.
It takes a lot for me to vomit. Too. Like
Drop of a hat.
I have to be real sick.
Drop of a hat.
So, and I've had food poisoning and all kinds of stuff, and I still can't.
Although I do gag really easy. I have
That-
a really easy gag reflex.
That right there is the closest I have been to vomiting in years.
Oh.
My stomach is churning, and I didn't even swallow.
Oh, I spit. Yeah. We spit ours. Oh, no.
Would have meant to pour before.
Oh,
Hey.
it's happening. My God, it's happening.
He broke
We broke Josh.
he broke the seal. He broke the seal.
Oh, no.
The seventh seal has been broken.
Oh my jeez.
And our viewer count has gone up steadily since this started.
This has been the best episode we've ever made. I don't know what you're talking about.
We're gonna get so much ad revenue.
Oh, man. KFC sponsor us. Oh, God.
No. Least chicken sponsor.
Oh, Popeyes.
Popeyes. Yeah.
Oh, I hate Popeyes.
Oh, I love Popeye. Bojangles also very good. I had them for dinner this weekend.
Okay.
All right.
News.
Let's collect ourselves. All right. So what do we want to get into first for the news?
We're gonna be on the front page of Twitch. Like, check out these nerds choking on jelly beans.
Vomit on camera. Yeah.
Again, that probably violates a term of service.
All right.
As long as you don't do it on screen, probably fine.
Probably fine. So, first and foremost, you know what? This is probably the easiest one. K-pop Demon Hunters 2 was officially announced
It was
through
an
Netflix.
Easy
That's ju-
choice for Netflix too.
That's just in. Water is wet.
Grass is green. Yes, I'm surprised they did not officially announce it
Like the week after the movie
the
release.
day after the movie release. This seems like the biggest slam dunk.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And probably the biggest financial blunder in Sony's history.
Yeah.
No.
And they've made a lot of blunders.
And they made Morpheus.
Yeah.
Morbius.
To be fair, and I've said this before on the franchise, if it had not released on Netflix, it would probably not have been the huge worldwide.
It would have been
A
it would have been a slow burn.
Slow
Like,
burn. Yeah.
It would have had low numbers the first week and then picked up over time.
As word of
Yeah.
mouth got out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like it was such a niche kind of concept that
Kinda. I mean, people
Kinda.
love K-pop though.
K-pop's pretty big.
Yeah.
that's true too. I guess.
And those people would have been the ones in there at first, and then they would have brought more with them as it went on.
the
Like,
normies.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
normies.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from that.
God, this feels like trying to fight through the spice when we did
We're
the
getting-
Super Bowl.
Oh, we're
The
yeah.
spice.
We should have saved this for the
You
end.
need the beans for space travel.
No, I'm glad we didn't save it for the
Dude-
end
dude
because
beans.
I don't want to ruin my dinner.
That's true. You mean the beans weren't your dinner?
I would be in an incredibly sad place if that was the case.
Cutting a jelly bean with a fork and knife.
Oh yeah.
You know, and my grandfather's not getting out of the bed in like 40 years. Then I get a magic ticket. Oh,
Ugh. Okay. This is kind of a weird one. Tina Fey will be the first host of SNL UK. Also, there's an SNL UK happening.
Striking while the iron's hot. You know.
Well, you know what? It only took them 50 years.
Yeah.
Live from Bristol. It's Saturday night, isn't it?
Night live.
here's the thing though. Is Saturday Night Live even still that popular?
Oh yeah.
Is
I
it?
mean, it's an institution.
It's an
Like,
institution.
I mean, I get that, but it's weird to see the British Uno reversing us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
When it comes to television.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you got me. Yeah.
Well, don't worry. It's British, so it'll only last 3 series.
Yes.
I wonder how many Doctor Who skits there'll be.
Oh boy, yes.
That's the only thing they do.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all Doctor Who's.
It's all Doctor Who and
shot at a Cardiff quarry.
Yeah.
yep.
British Bake Off sketch.
Oh, there's got to be. Who? I have no idea. I don't even know who the first cast is. What if they got Noel Fielding?
I don't know who else you get.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of improv
Wait,
actors do you
aren't there
have?
only like 5 British actors and most of them live over here?
Yeah.
I mean, British comedians.
Yeah.
Pip-
No. Yeah.
Pip Wellington. That's the most British name I could think of off the top of my
Really?
head.
Benedict Cumberbatch is right
No,
there.
I mean fake name.
Whoa,
Fake
okay.
name.
I
Yeah.
was trying to come up with an original name.
Also, Tina Fey.
Tina Fey. Hey, you know
I
what?
love Tina Fey. No, don't get me wrong. I love Tina Fey. I absolutely adore that woman.
Mhm.
I have always thought she's hilarious. It's just weird that she's the first guest and she's American.
Well, but she was one of the. She was a part of bringing back SNL from the brink.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true too.
There in the
Her weekend update was like some of my favorite stuff.
Mm-hmm. Although I will say the Colin Jost stuff and Michael Che,
Yeah,
Those
they're,
are
they're
really
really
good,
good.
too.
They're
Also very
really good.
when they write each other's jokes and make each other say just the worst stuff.
I like when Sarah Sherman is on and roasts Colin Jost
Yeah.
too. That's very
Yeah,
funny.
that is fun. That is fun. Let's see. Jumping over to the Marvel side of things, I guess they are working on another Marvel show, a prequel to the Fantastic Four about the Silver Surfer,
Like
which will feature Norrin Rad, the
the actual, not the.
well, no, I don't want to say the actual, the comic version
Yeah.
of Silver Surfer because she is the
She was silver and she surfed. So,
yes.
She surfed sooner than,
and was good.
than
It
surf
was
Dracula.
good in that movie.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing the required Surf Dracula reference.
Very good. Very good. But yeah, I mean, it seems a little bit like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel for characters. I'm still waiting for Vision Quest. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun because
I think it'll be. I definitely think it'll be a thinker. Like, to be honest.
Oh, the Vision Quest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, James Spader is coming back as Ultron.
Or at least the
In it,
voice of Ultron.
The voice of Ultron. They have a voice for Dummy, the robot arm from
yeah,
Iron
yeah.
Man
It's
1.
all the stupid robots that popped up in the various movies.
And this is where we're getting Jocasta.
I mean,
The
to be fair,
yeah.
When
Sounds like
Tony
a
Stark,
defunct soda.
Kinda. Yeah.
it actually
Joss-
comes from mythology.
Yeah.
But there was a throwaway scene in, I don't remember what movie it was, but honestly, it might have been Ultron. Now that I'm thinking about
the
it,
Eternal.
I didn't see that one.
Nobody saw that one.
It was not good.
But there's a part where Tony Stark is flipping through a bunch of, like, I don't know,
Oh,
hard
yes.
drives or something.
Because he needs to put a new AI
He
now
needs to
that
put a new AI
Jarvis
in,
is inside.
and one of
his
them
vision.
was Jocasta.
Jocasta.
Yeah. There was Friday, Jocasta. There was something else.
They had a handful of
Yeah,
them.
there was a handful of references.
I
to,
actually
like,
think Herbie was one of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And now Herbie exists.
Now Herbie exists. Well, it's just like in Winter Soldier where they mentioned Stephen Strange as a throwaway. They didn't really have a plan.
Oh, that's
They
true.
just picked the name.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was back when Marvel used to tease little things as just references.
They would
Instead
just
of
throw away. Yeah.
just throwaway gags instead of like, hey, here is the next one.
Like-
Everyone
like-
get ready.
Like in the first Thor when they're just walking through Odin's vault and the gauntlet or the Infinity Gauntlet just happened to be there.
And they had to write it into
Into a
Ragnarok.
joke.
where it's
Into a
like,
joke.
Oh, this one's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Other news. Catherine Hahn, she was in Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or no, not movies, I guess, but multiple TV series.
Yeah, she was
Agatha.
in two.
Agatha.
Yeah, she was
and
Agatha all
two
along.
of the better ones,
Yeah.
I would say. She has been officially confirmed as Mother Gothel, the villain in live-action Tangled.
You know what? It works.
Yeah, it's good casting.
Totally
It's great
works.
casting, but
Yeah.
I don't want another
Yeah,
Disney
we
live
don't-
action.
we
Doesn't
don't
need to
need-
exist, but
And
if
it-
it's got to, you could do worse.
It's Gothful.
Gothel. Yeah.
I wonder, like, maybe it won't even come out. It seems like a lot of times they announce a live action
And then it just kind of
and it just
fizzles.
fizzles out.
Yeah.
I feel like this one's probably pretty far along. It's a pretty easy, like.
Yeah, it's a
One
slam
to
dunk.
do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's a slam dunk.
It's like the easiest alley oop ever.
Yeah.
I think Tangled is one of the better, if not best, recent
I
Disney
That was the
would
first.
hardly agree.
That was the
Yes.
first CGI one, wasn't it?
Yes.
princessly one. Yes.
Yeah,
Princessy
that's what I'm
one,
talking
yes.
about. Like standard Disney.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Pixar. I'm not talking about all that. I'm talking about
Yeah, because it would have been the princess movie after Princess and the Frog, and
which
Princess
was
and
the
Frog
last
was the last
which
2D
was the last traditional. one.
traditional. or at least partially traditional. There was a lot of CG in that as well.
I mean,
but
there
flat.
was also CGI in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So,
Well, sure, yeah.
That's a non point.
Right.
But I did see something. There's like rumblings, I guess, at Disney that they're talking about maybe going back to form and maybe going back to traditional.
I hope so.
After watching that latest Gorillaz video, where
Mhm.
that's all traditional, or at least emulating the traditional look, like it needs
Now
it needs
more
to
than
come
ever.
back.
Oh,
Yes.
the mountain.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
I still
And
need to watch
completely
that.
It's
agree.
very good.
It's like what, 8 minutes?
Yeah, it's only like 8 minutes long, and the
Yeah.
music is good, and
It
the
keeps
animation
popping up on my feed. I'm like,
The
I just need
animation
to
is-
just, like hit it.
is brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the gorillas. It's
Yeah.
their whole thing.
It
Mhm.
pulls a lot of Jungle Book kind
Oh,
of
okay.
feel to it.
I mean, I remember watching Plastic Beach, and I really liked that.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's back. They did a lot of CG then. This is all traditional.
Okay.
Tell me about Pikmin.
I don't know anything about this.
You mean the colorful plant creatures from Nintendo?
No, that's a Pikmin.
Pikmin is an upcoming PC game from Studio. Was it Pocket Game?
It was Pocket Game, yeah.
Yeah, not Pocket Pair, who
Mhm.
make Palmon.
Yes.
This is Pikmin. This is
Wow.
different.
Wow, this is
Getting in the
they're-
weeds a little bit,
And they
yeah.
are going to get sued into oblivion because
By both Palmon and
Bethesda.
Nintendo and Pokemon.
and a little bit of Blizzard.
A little bit of Blizzard too.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's all these things tossed together into a generic survival game. The main character looks like Breath of the Wild Link.
Oh, so much.
he looks just like Breath of the
yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Blue
yeah.
tunic and all.
The characters look even more like Pokemon than Palmon do.
One of them was straight up stolen by someone who did like a fake idea of what a mega meganium, meganium, whatever the
New Pokemon, I don't know.
the one that's a brontosaurus,
Mageranium,
the geranium,
Yeah,
that one.
Mageranium or something
Yeah,
like that.
but it was. I mean, it was a one-to-one recreation
it's-
of it. It was
it's-
just stolen.
It is the most shameless thing
Yeah, there's
I've
a-
seen in a long time.
we thought Palmon was shameless. No,
No, this is worse.
Palmon looks like a real game compared to.
I noticed in some of their older like marketing material, Pocket Game is Poke Game. Poke Game.
even worse.
And so their lawyers at least were like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. Wow.
Can't call yourself that.
Wow. That is. I mean, listen. You gotta at least give them this. They're being brave.
Yeah.
They have more guts than I do.
They are tap dancing
They're-
awfully close to the
Yes.
sun.
Well, there's a difference between being brave and being foolish. And I think this leans more toward foolish.
What's that old saying? The difference between bravery and insanity, or courage and insanity.
Something like that. Yeah. I just know, like, from the movie Multiplicity, when you make a copy of a copy, it never comes out quite as bright.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie. I haven't watched it in a million years.
I
but
haven't
it's a good
either, but
one.
I
Yeah.
love that movie. It probably doesn't hold up at all, but
Let's see. Oh, Firefly. We are this close, very, very, very close to getting a continuation of the Firefly series. The Joss Whedon,
I guess this.
unfortunately, Joss Whedon show that was pretty good.
I guess this, like, third time's the try.
Well, they did the comic and they did Serenity. Now, from what I understand, this takes place between the end of Firefly, the show, and Serenity because Alan Tudyk is part of it.
Mm.
And it has to happen at least after the actor who played Book passed away. Because
you can't keep
he's
Alan
not-
Tudyk from a good voice acting role.
you got to. But yeah, so this is going to be animated. And
Oh, I mean, yeah, Shepherd Book does die like right at the beginning. Serenity.
yeah,
think.
and he's he's the one actor that's sadly no longer with us. So they
I really
kind of
liked
have
his
to.
character.
I did too.
That was the one thing I loved. Firefly, and
Mhm.
they made all these really compelling characters
Yeah,
that have possibly interesting backstories that we never got,
And
because Fox canceled it so fast.
and we might get some of that in this.
I've never watched Firefly.
It's good.
It's
I
a
mean,
space western.
well, it's also with modern eyes, it is Joss Whedon going, hey, the South during the Civil War, they were pretty cool.
Oh no!
Because that's pretty much who a lot of them were.
I don't know if we want to compare the brown coats to the Confederates.
But it's definitely there.
I mean, it's definitely a civil war happened in the galaxy or in the solar system or whatever.
And we're following the ones that
Who
lost.
Yes. That is the only comparison we can really make.
But yeah, with a modern eyes, that is kind of what it is. However, also a good show.
It is a great show.
And most of the cast is non-problematic.
Most of
the cast. Joss Whedon does not seem to be attached to this one.
Good.
It is, being the showrunners are two folks who have done a lot of I wish I had the list in front of me, but they are a married couple who actually met while working on the show Firefly. So they have a vested interest in keeping the show going. And
I mean,
everyone signed on.
Nathan Fillion has been trying to get more Firefly for 20 years?
It is arguably the biggest thing in his career.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, he's had some good stuff
in
his career.
Castle was pretty popular.
Mm-hmm.
Slither
was good. Hey, he's great as Hal Jordan. He was great as Guy Gardner.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the voice of Hal Jordan.
He was.
I mean, you were right.
Close.
You're right.
Technically. But yeah.
He's Hal Jordan and all the animated DC stuff. That's really good.
Yeah. Oh, except for the ones that are David Boreanaz from Bones. Angel and Bones.
Another Joss Whedon alumni.
Well, when he was very prolific for a decent amount of time, you're going to run into a lot of actors who work
Survivor.
within him. Basically. Yeah, basically.
Right.
Okay, so we have time for maybe one or two more. What is the Gang of Dragon thing?
Okay, so the Yakuza games, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
great.
Yeah, the guy that
Great,
created,
except for the last one.
The guy that created
The
those.
Hawaii one?
No, the Kiwami. The newest Kiwami.
Yeah,
Kiwami
Kiwami 3.
Yeah.
Well, the guy that created that series has since left Sega.
Okay.
Somewhere between,
and that's why Kiwami 3 is not very good.
Yeah, some of the turn-based. I think he left after maybe the first turn-based one. I don't know.
Oh, Like a Dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's gone to form his own studio that is his name, and then it was like Nagoshi Studio or something.
Sure.
And he was making a new game that looked in all ways just another Yakuza, but the way he wanted to do it, and not how Sega wanted him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked pretty good. But apparently NetEase, the publisher, has pulled all of their funding on it.
Ah, darn.
Which is a bummer.
Oh,
and
NetEase.
now it's just kind of floating in the ether.
Darn. That's a bummer. That makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. NetEase has backed some real stinkers. I don't know why they want to back out of something like that.
Yeah, it seems like an easy slam dunk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot better than 90% of the mobile games they put their name on.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm glad they funded Romeo's the Dead Man.
Yeah. You kind of lucked out there, huh?
You're going to have to talk about that next week.
I've talked about
You
it
talked about it
before.
last week.
I know, but I want a more in-depth.
Oh.
Yeah.
You should watch that review that I posted in the Discord, because it covers it pretty solidly.
Okay.
It's
God,
it's such a good game. Yeah.
I know, it's so bad.
Ugh.
I am fighting for my life here.
Anyway, yes.
But it's such a good game, if you're into that. It's not for, I can see how it's not for everyone, but if you like that kind of
goofiness,
creative, imperfection.
Yeah.
Then,
that's a perfect way of putting it. Creative imperfection. I like that.
You mean
I like that a lot.
You mean like any Suda 51, Suda 41 game or whatever?
Well, yeah.
I prefer an imperfect game that's interesting to a
bland, perfect
game that has all of the rough edges
sanded down.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree.
I would rather a messy product of passion than a safe, boring bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why people need to buy AA budget games like Romeo's the Dead Man.
Yep.
Because that's where those games are.
That's where they live.
Yep.
Absolutely. So there's a possible new film in the Cornetto quadrilogy
So
series.
Yes. So yeah, Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright are teasing that they're ready to announce or debut their new project that they've been trying to get working on.
Mhm.
And from everything we understand, it's probably going to be another movie like the other one, because they all work together on their sitcom Spaced, which is very
Spaced.
good,
It's good, yeah.
It is good.
which is really good.
I have seen that.
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and At World's End.
I've never seen At World's End.
It is the weakest one of the three.
That's what I've heard.
And I saw it in theater.
I love Hot Fuzz is one of my all-time favorite
Hot
movies.
Fuzz is my favorite.
Of the three,
Of the
yes,
three.
absolutely.
Nothing against Shaun of the Dead. A lot of people really love Shaun of the Dead.
It's good. It's a
Yep,
great movie.
yep.
I'm not the biggest zombie guy. That's just the only reason I don't like it.
Sure.
And I was fine up until the end of the bar when the dude gets his guts ripped out.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my point where it just kind of knocked it down a peg for me.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't
But
like
that's
gore.
Simon- knocked
I
it
don't
down
like
to
gore.
Simon
I don't
Pegg.
like gore. That's just me.
Oh, you
That's just me.
steamrolled my joke. It's not knocked it down to Simon Pegg.
Ah, that is good. That is good. I feel bad I walked on that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
I don't mind gore. I enjoy some wild gore on occasion.
I like gore when it is to a cartoon level.
Yeah.
Bad 80s horror movie, all day, every day.
Chopping mall?
Yes. Yes, Chopping Mall. That head explosion scene, oh my God.
You smell like pepperoni.
Perfection.
I still have that buttons.
You do?
I do.
Nice, nice.
I kept all the buttons from our bad movie night.
I
They're-
still have a bunch
I
of them
turned them
too.
into magnets for my fridge. Yeah, yeah,
You know, it's a good idea.
yeah. We have time for one more, I guess.
we only have, like, one more.
We only have like one more, yeah. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot, not reboot, continuation series has officially been axed or stabbed, I guess. Stabbed in the
Staked.
heart, staked by Hulu. They are no longer working on it, which is a bummer because Sarah Michelle Gellar was all in.
Yeah. Yes.
Wasn't she like executive producer or something?
Yes,
like
she
that?
was.
Seems like an easy slam dunk.
It
I don't
really
know. A
does.
lot of people really love that show.
Yeah.
Plus the Joss Whedon written continuation comics, the season 6 comics, were
Mhm.
back in the early 2000s. Those were pretty good.
Although I wonder if this is
Art was
also
amazing.
a Joss Whedon situation where Hulu doesn't want to
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah, they don't
Well,
want
it's like Disney doesn't want Firefly
That's
show
true.
either.
We didn't get into that. They have the Firefly thing. They have everyone lined up, and art and animation house producers, the whole 9 yards, except for somewhere to air it. And I mean, yeah, it could be that because Disney owns 20th Century Fox. Hulu is right there. They could conceivably have it on there, but yeah, that's
But also,
I hadn't thought of that.
But al-
Tubi will probably take it.
Tubi will take it. Tubi will take
Tubi
every-
take anything.
Yeah.
Tubi would probably air our jelly bean debacle.
Tubi would take us, yes, and they should.
Yeah.
Hey Tubi, are you listening? We need sponsorship.
But yeah, it's kind of a bummer. You know, I wasn't a habitual watcher of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but what I had seen, it was good. I liked it.
I
I can
know-
appreciate
I
it.
have watched the entirety of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Mhm.
movie and series.
The movie's good. I've seen the
The
movie.
movie is also completely different
Yeah.
than the series.
Yes.
I know it's foundational viewing for a lot of people.
It
like
is.
it's a very important show for a lot of people.
Yep.
Until season 5. After season 5, I mean, I
Kinda
watched
dipped.
it, but I was like, I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Did you watch Angel?
Hated it. I watched it, but I hated it.
Sure. No, that's fair.
It was not good.
That's fair.
The way the X-Files is to me,
Yeah, yeah.
Buffy is to a lot of people.
Does that mean you don't like the Lone Gunman?
No, I've never actually seen The Lone Gunman, but it seems like I would love that.
Yeah. I need to. I watched one episode of it and I loved it because it was like X-Files but dumber, like more wild and stupid.
It's like X-Files if we were the main characters.
Yeah, basically,
of the X-Files.
it was actually. That's a very good way of putting it. Yes. But yeah, it's a bummer. Well, hopefully, it gets picked up somewhere else. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. And with that, I think we have hit time. So let's go ahead and wrap up the show. You have been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
Over at chickenbeans.com.
Never at chickenbeans.com.
If you have any questions, topics, you just want to say hi, you can find us, or you can send us an email at staff@nerdoverload.com.
If you want to get in touch with us in a vocal way, give us a call at 412-345-1413.
Get at us with your mouth words.
Yes, leave us a message on the Nerd Overload hotline. We'll play it on the show.
We will play it on the show, absolutely.
When you first started rattling that off, you almost had a beat to it, like you're going to do like a little song. Like
if you want to get in touch with us in a vocal way.
Well, the Spice Girls, if you want to be my lover, but...
If you want to get in touch with us, you got to call the number...
412-345-1413. I don't know. All right.
No,
anyway.
I think we're definitely building something.
We're
here.
getting there. We're getting there. You can find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where you can watch us all retch while eating jelly beans.
Yeah, if you are on the fence about watching us in a video format, I think this is
If there's an episode
to watch.
this is the one. Absolutely. Finally, I'd like to thank Parker for helping us find. And finally, I'd like to thank Parker for helping us find news for the show, David Pencil for our intro and outro, and I'd like to not thank Cody for bringing in those nasty, nasty beans.
I didn't think they would be that bad.
You didn't think they would bean that
They
bad?
would bean that bad.
Anyway, thank you all.
You would have been wrong.
Again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Chicken beans
No.
are horrible.
Oh, that was a hell of a show, guys.
Oh,
That was good. That was
I
good.
hate that this is possibly the best episode we've ever done.
Yeah, this might be the highlight, unfortunately.
Like, not a lot of news, not a lot of meat, except meat flavor.
No, there was
The
meat.
meat flavoring.
Yeah, no.
Every time I breathe, I taste it. It's like stuck.
Every breath you
take.
Every breath you take.
I'll be tasting beans.
I'll be retching it. All right. So, I don't know. Is there anything else we want to add to the back end of the show here?
Do not eat those jelly beans. You have been warned.
You have been warned. Ugh.
Unfortunately, do not have a game show this week.
That's fine. I feel like the damage you've done enough.
I've done enough.
You've done enough.
You've done enough for this one. Yeah.
We're not mad. We're just disappointed.
All right. So I think we're all going to throw up after we turn off the camera. So let's end this sucker. Thumbs up. Well, thumbs down for me.
Yeah,
thumbs down for me. It was a bad one.
Thumbs
It was a bad one. All right.
down.
We'll see you next week.